Welcome to the Kyber Show. This is episode 27, and I, of course, am Ken. You're probably watching this at a slightly bit different date than you have expected because Skell is really quite busy these days with work and professional things. Don't worry though, we still have one more episode that you'll see after this. I will chat a bit about that at the end of this show as well. But let's get into the fight. So we have three interesting ones today. A fleet with a very frustrating bug, and two nearly perfectly, well, points-wise, perfectly executed character battles. And one of them I've never seen in GAC before. So hopefully you'll find that as interesting as I did. Let's take a look. This is a fascinating fight. It's pretty common to be uncomfortable with this fight, as Radis' Outlast can neuter your damage output if you don't time your moves correctly. So we're starting here with Sunfac using Prime Target, perfect, going for a stun. Now here comes the Outlast, get rid of that stun. Now here is the fight loss. Here you should be using All Cannons Fire to remove the Foresight from the two resistance allies, instead of using the Charging Malevolence move, because here, when Hyena Bomber goes for Synchronized Salvo, it just gets evaded by all of the resistance characters, and then you have no real way of getting through. And here comes Xanadu Blood, which becomes the source of the bug later on. But without a Dispel here in your reinforcements, only Spy, no Ebon Hawk or something like that. And now Evasion up on Ray's Millennium Falcon. You get some TM from the Vulture droids dying and going after Ray's Falcon, but you can't get through. The fight is effectively lost here. Maybe you could pull it out if you're lucky, but without that first move to get rid of the Foresight that allows you to put down. Okay, here comes the bug, watch. And down goes Hyena Bomber from Xanadu Blood. We'll watch the fight play out here, and I'll explain a little bit what's going on. So this bug has been around since, I think, the end of 2019 is when it was first reported, at least on the public forums, to EA, on their bug tool. It most likely has to do with stacking Breach. So Hyena Bomber had one stack of Breach from Houndstooth, and when Xanadu Blood reinforces, he applies another Breach, and then when he attacks with his basic, each hit applies Breach as well. This one can be resisted, whereas his reinforcement cannot be resisted or evaded. You can see, if you rewind or if you continue watching Ian's videos, he goes over it in detail there at the end. He has his crew ability gives him a chance with each of his basic to apply 10% max health damage, to do 10% max health damage with each hit of his basic. And so against Hyena Bomber, he did first 6 hits and then another 7 hits, I guess, but I'm guessing it would be 8 because each hit of his basic. His first hit, there was 3 stacks of Breach, and with his first hit of his basic, that goes a 4th stack, so the next time he would hit, he'd potentially do it 8 times. And then for some reason those stacks of Breach don't seem to go away, because later on in this fight he hit the Vulture droid for 6 stacks. So it looks like, I would guess, that there is an incremental, something triggers an incremental stacking of Breach, the count on Xanadu Blood rather than on the target. Regardless, it's very frustrating. You do see though that there's a little bit of recovery here at the end by It's Just Ian, but really the bug wouldn't even have played a significant role had the opening moves been correct. But a tough loss. This is an excellent fight. Troopers are a great counter to Sith Eternal Emperor, but the lineup for Sith Eternal Emperor that they're using here is one of the most difficult to fight. The only way to make it a little more difficult is putting in Sith Empire Trooper instead of Basilis Shan Fallen. Anyway, we don't go for control the situation on Malak, just go with the Darksaber Lunge from Gideon, put Imperial Ambition on a Range Trooper. You could put it on Death Trooper perhaps, because when he's called for assist, his basic's a bit better than Range Trooper, but anyway, not a big thing. Now only basics on Fallen Bastilla. No control of the situation for Malak, but you can do it on Fallen Bastilla. And now, straight after Sith Eternal Emperor, you'll notice that because no allies are deceived, you can target him directly because he has not taken his second turn yet. So there is some speed check you have to have really, but with most decently fast troopers you will not have a problem doing this. This is why the Sith Empire Trooper can be a bit more problematic, because when Sith Eternal Emperor gets below 100% health, you would have a taunt again from Sith Empire Trooper, and I mean you could take him out at the beginning also instead of Fallen Bastilla, but he adds a little bit more complications. And anyway, just like that, Sith Eternal Empire is gone. The Sith Marauder will definitely interrupt your turn meter train a bit, but he's not going to interrupt your, or excuse me, he'll interrupt your damage stacks from Emperor's Trap from Piet, but he will not interrupt your turn meter train. And then you take him out third, and it's just a matter of cleanup after that. That may be the reason why Imperial Ambition was put on Range Trooper, because he's the beefiest, so he can take a couple of hits from the Sith Marauder. Now even with Fear, quickly recovered, and just a matter of slowly taking them out. You're going to get a few hits now and then from Malak and Darth Revan, but once Darth Revan equalizes once, with Malak he probably shouldn't again. There you go, Death Mark on Darth Malak, and here this AoE or mass attack doesn't take him out, but just auto does. That's very satisfying. What a great 60 banner win. Perfectly executed. This is why I don't put Sith Eternal Emperor on defense. This final fight is one that you definitely do not see that often. I don't think I've ever seen it in GAC before. I've certainly used it in Arena back in the Padme era, but first we go with Mind Tricks on Padme, and now Finn does his Strength of Will on Poe, going for Blaster Bravado, and gets buff immunity on Kenobi. Very nice. And just like that, Anakin goes down. Poe plays a huge role here, not necessarily for his Blaster Bravado, which certainly makes a difference with the buff immunity, or Barris just removed it, but more with his Spark of Resistance for the bonus damage you get when that's Zeta. That is very important. Once Anakin is down, it's just a matter of taking out Padme now. Yeah, no reason to go for Mind Tricks, just to kill Kenobi. And here comes Finn's Spark of Resistance again. Oh, look at that. Very nice. And now Padme should go down pretty easily. A couple of hits there from Finn and Poe. And the rest of everybody will fall down quickly. Maybe they get one more turn before they go. Or not even that. Beautiful fight. You really need the Zeta on Poe to do that. But awesome 60 points. And rare to see that. Great match. Thank you, as always, for watching another episode. As I'd mentioned in the last episode, this is going to be the last season for the Kyber Show. I've been working on another Grand Arena related project for the last couple of months. Personally, I love this game mode. Conquest is very enjoyable so far, I will say. Anyway, my plans are to build out more resources, or resources in general, for people to be able to do better at GAC, to improve themselves, to learn. And the resources I want to build are those that have been tested and tested and tested and tested and reproduced over and over and over again, with lots of logic and you might even say science to back them up. To make it as easy as possible for people to learn about these resources, and especially other resources, because I am a tiny fish in a very big pond of amazing content creators and people who have built and created a lot of very helpful resources for GAC. And so I want to be able to bring those all together and to allow people to be able to find them more easily. And especially if people want to participate in deciding what resources are created or prioritizing what resources are created, or even want to help with the research itself. So if that sounds interesting, awesome. I'd love to have you be part of that. But anyway, I'll talk about it in more details in the next and last episode of the Kyber Show. Until then, cheers.